Welcome, everybody, to Modern Craftsman Podcast. So if you missed this last week, we held a live workshop, a Q&A for our Modern Craftsman community. We have recently unveiled a new digital course called Lead Generation and Marketing for Contractors. We're focusing on building a brand that sells quality and trust. So Nick and I have realized of late, especially, that one of the greatest struggles within our industry is generating enough leads from the right type of client to truly drive success. So in this episode, I'm basically going to go back over our presentation. We're going to dive into these challenges, why our market is experiencing a slight lull, how to proactively avoid the slowdowns, how to leverage both online and offline strategies for brand awareness, visibility, and lead generation. So I hope that you all enjoy this podcast where we will be unpacking these critical topics and share some insights for you to help you grow your business with confidence. So thank you to Andersen Windows. Imagine the possibilities when you can offer your clients more than just walls and windows. With Andersen, you're not just building a structure, you're crafting an experience that connects people to the world beyond their walls. Their windows and doors bring in natural light, fresh air, and stunning views, creating living spaces that truly embrace the outdoors, whether it's expansive glass doors that open to a patio or floor-to-ceiling windows that frame a breathtaking landscape. Andersen products provide the flexibility and performance you need. They're designed to withstand the elements while offering unmatched beauty and functionality. Refine the boundaries of living spaces by choosing Andersen Windows and Doors and give your clients the luxury of living beyond their walls. For more information, head over to andersenwindows.com/moderncraftsman. And thank you to Buildertrend. As home builders, we know the grind. Between juggling jobs, managing budgets, and keeping clients happy, planning for the future often gets pushed aside. But here's the thing. Success is not luck, it's strategy. With Buildertrend's free strategic planning template made in partnership with Breakthrough Academy, you'll get a step-by-step guide to set clear goals, align your team, and start 2025 with confidence. Whether you're aiming to grow your revenue, streamline operations, or scale faster, this template is your roadmap. Don't just dream big, build big by downloading it today at buildertrend.com/MC planning template. Thank you to Velux. If you've been thinking about adding skylights to one of your projects, trust Velux to provide you with industry-leading quality and service. Velux has spent 80 years crafting innovative and reliable skylights that are trusted around the world. From the rainy Pacific Northwest to the hot and sunny South, skylights will elevate any home and wow clients. You can trust that Velux skylights will bring in natural light and fresh air to any space, making you and your project look good. Visit veluxusa.com/remodeler to discover which Velux product can transform your next project. Yeah, so last week we held a live workshop for this new course, Marketing and Lead Generation. If you missed that, I'm sorry. I'm not going to get into everything that we discussed on that Q&A. I do have a lot of the questions saved. Obviously, I have the presentation, but for the people who took time out of their day to attend this workshop and join us and support what we are doing, they're going to reap the greater reward. So this, we're going to dig into some. I'm going to recap what we went over, but if moving forward, if you want the full experience, I would recommend that if we put out in the mailer, or if we basically advertise that we are going to hold some sort of a workshop, a Q&A, a webinar, that it's going to be worth it for you to take an hour and 20 minutes out of your day to attend that. It really doesn't come down to more than that. I think we were done maybe an hour and 15 minutes or so between the course, all the content, the presentation, and the Q&A. So it really is not a lot of time out of your day, and it's going to be the best use of your time. So let's dive right into it here. Why is everyone here? If you took time out of your day to attend this workshop, there's obviously a reason why. You know that this is regarding marketing, branding, lead gen, strategies. So there has to be a problem that you're experiencing as a contractor in your life. What is that? So marketing and lead gen is the lifeblood of any business, right? You cannot survive without it. It's like cash flow. It is necessary to create the type of business that you need to survive. Without proper branding, without proper marketing, without proper lead gen, your business will hit a ceiling. You're not going to be able to grow to your full potential. No matter how great the work that you do is, you're going to hit a ceiling. So you probably own a business. You probably did not anticipate owning a business. You probably did not anticipate being a businessman or woman, but you got into the trades because you loved building something. You loved working with your hands. And one thing led to another. You thought that the path to more money and greater success was starting your own business, right? That was the only option forward. So before you knew it, you're way in over your head. You don't understand anything from marketing, branding, lead generation, sales strategy. You don't understand the back end of accounting your numbers. So you're just paddling upstream, constantly trying to keep your head above water. So I would assume that a lot of you are here because that's the path that you took to get here. And I think that that's indicative of most people within our industry. You most likely have struggled or don't understand or are intimidated by marketing yourself in a digital world, right? Our industry is a lot of the good old boys mentality where you do great work, you get word of mouth referrals, you have this established network of return customers, and that's going to support your business. That will work. That will take you so far, but to get to the next level, you need more, especially in today's day and age. The newer generation goes online to buy first. So you have to be visible in a digital world. You have to have SEO. You have to understand Google Analytics. It's just the way that the world is going, and it's not. We're not going to go backwards. That's just the way it has to be. So you are also probably tired of tight margins, long hours, tire kickers. You've experienced some sort of slowdown within the market. Whether it be the last year, the last 6 months, the last 3 months, that things have been slowing down. So I ask you, how many leads are you guys and girls generating per month? Of these leads, how many do you think are well qualified? How many are the ideal client for your business? Do you feel that you have the financial capacity or bandwidth to dump money or equity into your marketing program, your lead generation systems and processes right now? Do you have, or who handles the SEO with your business? Have you taken time to identify your ideal client avatar? Are your clients and the leads that are coming across your plate dictating the profitability of your business? And is your business isolated or protected from shifts within the economy? And if you say no to any of them, or if the amount of leads that you generate or the type of leads are not where you want to be, I'd hang around and listen up. This is all going to be important for you. So a little bit of a background. My biggest issue with marketing, branding, lead gen is that I was of the good old boys mentality where it's like, do good work. Your work will speak for itself. How you treat clients will speak for itself. You'll be busy and have enough work to last you a lifeline. I did that. It worked. I did have enough work. I had more than enough work. I had a great return customer base, but it was more of the same. I wasn't breaking out of the constraints or the limits that I had established for myself through word of mouth referrals, through the market where I was working. I didn't know how to break out of that, to move to the next level, to create greater profitability. My clients loved me. They were getting great projects, and the referrals kept coming. I was busy. I had years worth of work, but it was all the same type of work. And I was really struggling to make money. I was struggling to grow my business from a profitability and a margins perspective, not necessarily from a volume perspective. And this led to financial instability and financial insecurity and uncertainty, right? I had work lined up, but I would have these lulls of like quality leads, and I was overselling projects. I was dumping too much time and too much equity and I was overinvesting in all of my projects. So it ended up costing me a lot of money, and I struggled for years and years and years, and I didn't know how to get out of that because the referrals, the leads, everything that was coming through my pipeline was just more of the same type of project, type of budget, type of client. They were great, but it wasn't where I needed to be successful. As far as Nick goes, Nick has grown his business a ton. His business and the scale of his business and what he's looking to do is completely different. But Nick learned a lot through trial and error. When you grow that quickly, a lot of times the systems that you put in place, it's too hard to gauge what's happening with them as it's happening. And when you grow and scale so quickly, the point of reference is always changing. The benchmark's always changing. So how do you gauge what changes you're making, what processes you're putting in place, and how effective they are? It's difficult. So I know recently, if you guys listen to podcasts, Nick struggled with a couple of jobs falling through. Luckily, he had pre-con in place. He was paid for the pre-construction. He was paid for the consulting, but the projects didn't come to fruition. He had let off the gas. What he had lined up was going to keep him busy and keep his team busy for a decent duration of time. So he let off the gas on the marketing and the lead gen aspect of things. He didn't have systems in place to keep that going. He was focusing on what was directly in front of him. When the jobs fell through, he didn't have systems in place that could handle that. So as we were creating this course, Nick was like quite literally going through and determining what he should have done differently and what he should have had in place to prevent this moving forward. And you know, a lot of times we learn the most from the struggles, from the failures, and to be able to experience struggles as you're creating a course and what you could do differently and come out on the other side is super valuable and super powerful. So the background of Nick and myself together, Modern Craftsman, I would assume that this is probably not the first podcast that you've listened to us, but if it is, welcome. I appreciate you being here. But the entire catalyst, the entire impetus for this podcast was that we have realized, and this course, and answering that question, how do we generate more and better leads? The reason for that was because we realized that so many of you guys and girls out there experience the same type of challenges as us, right? You struggle with the same type of things. Nick and I are not in a vacuum. The decisions that we're making, the problems that we are experiencing, they are not isolated to only us. Everyone is experiencing that. Everyone in our industry is experiencing that. So we are not alone here. So we wanted to be able to share our experience with you, share what we've learned over the past few years. And I would like to think that, you know, Nick and I have spent a lot of time understanding how to market our businesses a little bit different than the last generation. And we've been pushing this for a long time. Whether you're a built-on contractor, whether you are a builder, whether you are a subcontractor, whatever it may be, we have a ton of experience from speaking with people internally. We've been around this and been around pushing the envelope of the marketing and the business and the lead gen within our industry to be able to create this and share this with you and really bring a lot of value for you. The goal for us is to put out information, content, knowledge that is going to help you avoid the mistakes that we made, learn strategies to cope and deal with that, and then create a business that's not only profitable for you, but also extremely fulfilling. So what is the promise that Nick and I are making to you, that the Modern Craftsman is making to our community? To build a brand that's resistant to market fluctuations, to help you identify your ideal client profile and guarantee profitability and fit, to make digital marketing less daunting for you, to simplify the SEO process for your business, to use existing clients and projects to generate better leads, to build a robust marketing plan for minimal costs, to grow a pipeline of work that breeds confidence and increases demand through scarcity. So if you had 2 weeks worth of work lined up, and then you also in another world had 2 years worth of work lined up, when you have 2 weeks worth of work lined up, you're hungry, you're desperate, you know that you need to keep the wheels in motion. You do not have substantial lead generation or a workflow or a pipeline of workflow to be able to create the best business model and practices. If you have 2 years worth of work lined up and you have processes in place to continue generating leads and to continue engaging with those leads and moving forward with those leads and bringing them to contract, you are in a much better place because you aren't hungry. You're not desperate. You're not going to say no to a client that you feel is not an ideal fit. So the goal would be, hey, we're 2 years out, we're a year out, we're a year and a half out, 6 months out, whatever it is, whatever the goal is in the sweet spot for your company, is to create some scarcity, right? We have one spot open for our business this year. Do you want in? And to create that scarcity, to get rid of the desperation and create the business confidence that you don't need every single lead that comes across your plate, allows you to raise your prices, to create better margins, to not sell for the sake of selling, and to not just be continually feeding the machine. So what I want to dig into real quickly here is the state of the market. What's your market look like? I'm going to speak for a lot of people here. And obviously there are pockets that are independent of what I'm about to say, right? They are protected from this. They're isolated from this. If that's the case, you're probably not listening to this right now. But most of our industry, most of our country right now is experiencing a slowdown. And maybe, you have weeks or months where it goes up and down. But when you look big picture, the last 12 months, work has slowed down. Why? Interest rates have gone up. Everyone knows that. Inflated costs of everything, of housing, of building, renovating, buying. Land is more expensive. Labor is more expensive. Materials are more expensive. Money is more expensive. So when you think about it from a business, right, not only are clients not able to afford things and everyone is buckling down, tightening up, not spending as much, but your costs have gone up. How much is your labor gone up this year? How about insurance? I know that I just paid $10,000 for my work van, a pickup truck, and a dump trailer. $10,000 in auto insurance for the year. So how are we affording this? How are our clients affording this? And that's creating a lull within the market. New homes. So the way that our market works is typically to build a new house is the most expensive, right? You have somebody who wants to get out of renting. They want to be in a home. The most expensive option is new homes. They're out of reach for a lot of people. So the new home market, builders aren't building as many homes. That's obviously impacting our industry. Now look at where does everyone go at that point, right? Who they want to own, they're not looking to rent at this point. So they go to the existing inventory. I want to say used home market, even though it's just existing real estate inventory. There's not a lot of that because people can't afford new homes. So they were buying all of the existing inventory. because of the lack of supply, the demand has gone up and the price has gone up. So now house prices are extremely high and there's not a ton of inventory on the market. So when something goes up for sale, people are paying above market value, they're paying above appraisal, and they're bringing cash or their savings to put a down payment on the house and then pay up and above appraisal that your mortgage lender will not carry because of the risk. The mortgage rates are also inflated. So now these people who couldn't afford a new home, so the builders are slower, they are over investing in a quote unquote used home through an inflated cost, paying above appraised value, a extremely high interest rate, and they've exhausted all of their funds on the down payment and putting cash to pay above appraised value of the house. So now they have no equity in their home. They don't have any cash to renovate it. Realistically, 5 years from now, they're still not going to have any equity in their home, even if they refinance, because they overpaid and they paid up. Well, they overpaid as far as just initially the cost of the house, but then going above appraised value, they can't borrow against that. They have no equity. They dumped all of their cash, all of their savings into this house, and they're underwater day one. So nobody's going to, I mean, there are a few people, but the average person who gets into a home right now is not going to buy a home and then completely renovate it. There are people who can do that. But overall, what's affecting most of us is that people, if they're getting into a house, they can't afford to do anything with that house. And then they can't afford to build a new house. So to me, that's what's happening with our industry. And that's why things are slowing down. Obviously, it was an election year. There's some instability there. The market, every market, the entire economy is slightly fickle during an election year. But even moving forward, like nothing's going to change for the next 2 years. Any policies that are put into place. So I would say that where we are right now, even if interest rates start to come down, it's not going to have a huge impact on us. Nothing's really going to change, and we're going to have to buckle down and find ways to generate better leads, more leads, and to avoid having to compete with a lot of our market. So for us, what does this mean? Less leads making their way onto our plates. Unpredictable revenue streams or lower revenue. Higher operating costs, higher overhead to float. More competition within the market. Tighter margins to remain competitive. What does that mean? It means that people who were not prepared for this and don't have work on their plate are going to begin sharpening their pencils in order to stay busy, in order to float their overhead, in order just to keep the wheels and feed the beast and keep the wheels in motion and pay their bills. That's going to affect all of us, right? As people slow down, as there's less leads, people are going to get more desperate. They're going to tighten up their numbers. They're going to be worried less about making money as much as just breaking even. There's going to be less access to capital at a fair market rate, not only for our clients, but for us as business owners. At this point, our clients will be gaining leverage. They understand that there's not a lot of work out there, that they can shop around, that they can get the price that they want and get what they want by paying less. So that's a really tough situation to be in. That's going to be tough for us to navigate that. How are you going to do that? Do you have the things in place to be able to do that? So some of the lessons that Nick and I have learned over the years and over the past year, 6 months, 3 months, as we speak, mistakes that we have made and that we have spoken with other people about making. Because remember, everything that Nick and I speak about, all the information that we have, all the conversations that we have, all the content, the knowledge, the experience, this is not just my experience. This is not just Nick's experience. This is the experience of our entire community, people who reach out to us and email us, ask us questions, guests that we have on, relationships with partners and vendors that we have. Talk about industry insight. Like, we have access to some of the top minds at a lot of companies, at Buildertrend, at Andersen Windows, at Rockwool, to see what is going on within the market and understand that we have a lot of experience. We have a lot of access to some of the brightest minds within our industry, not just companies, but also builders, right? Brad from AFT, Morgan from Construction to Style, Jeff Sweener. We have access to all of these people and have conversation with these people to see what the industry looks like outside of our own little box that we live in. So some of the mistakes that we've either made or we've heard about is not identifying or defining your ideal client, relying solely on word of mouth, ignoring the digital marketing aspect of business, not having substantial online lead generation, selling price instead of value, neglecting to build a strong brand, inconsistent marketing efforts, overlooking the power of testimonials and reviews, no lead follow-up process, lack of SEO, lack of local SEO, and no platform diversification. So that leads to the current state of marketing within our industry as contractors. For years, most of us have relied on word of mouth, past clients to keep us busy. We are focusing almost entirely on offline lead generation and marketing. Most contractors, if they are on social media or are visible within the digital world, are using it ineffectively and inefficiently. So it's consuming a lot of their time, it's consuming a lot of their resources, and they are not gaining traction with it. They're not recouping the time, the money, the resources they're putting into it. They're creating content that cannot be used cross-promotionally. So another thing is lack of brand identity, right? Your brand is more than just a logo. You have to have a great logo, but it's more than just a logo. And people think that, hey, it's just that, it's just our t-shirt. No, it's not. It is how your clients feel when they think about your company. It is what feelings it invokes when they pull up your website and they see it, when they see your trucks around town. I want, and I know that Nick speaks the same way, is that we want our brand to exude what clients should feel about us. So if Nick is creating a super high-end, elegant, niche brand, he wants every single touch point of his brand to exude those characters, those character traits, those characteristics of his brand. It's not just about the NS Builders logo. It's not just about his work. He wants it to be an entire experience from the first touch point, from the first time they look up your brand until the end. And I think that a lot of us lack that. Even if you have a great logo, you have, clean trucks, a lot of times it begins and ends there. So Nick and I put together this business course, this marketing and lead gen. What's in that course? You can find the course on our social media, Modern Craftsman Pod. It is in the highlights. We are working on getting it up on the website. It should be in the link tree on our Instagram. And until we have the website sorted out, it might be sorted out by the time this podcast comes out. But if it's not, get on our mailing list, subscribe to our mailing list, because we will have the link to the course attached there. So what's in the course? 7 learning modules. So bit larger sections of learning, 23 individual lessons within those 7 modules. We have written content, written lessons, and also video lessons. So we have 16 video lessons. We have a questionnaire to help you identify your ideal client. We have a full SEO strategy roadmap from beginner to as involved as you want to get. And also we give you a few extra resources that we find valuable. Lead gen strategies, an action plan for implementing them, a document to help ensure and guarantee client fit. We have a quick start action plan for lead generation, a 30-day content calendar, and our 6 favorite business and marketing resources, and then also an online community forum that is private and only open to people who purchase this course. So the course itself, right, the roadmap for success, I'm going to walk you through quickly what's basically each module and what's within them, right? So the first module is going to be understanding your ideal clients. Have you taken the time to analyze, define your ideal client profile? What's the demographic of your ideal client? Are they single? Are they married? Do they have children? What areas do they live in? Are they typically white collar? All of these questions, demographics, psychographics, how to define who your ideal client is, to not only market to them, but then to vet them on the back end. Who hires somebody like you? Who would hire your business? And then you could start to create your branding and your marketing based on that. Building trust and quality reputation through branding, having an active online presence, coming up in SEO search, living and being visible in multiple areas to create the legitimacy for your business. What are your core values? Are you consistent with them? Are you transparent? Do you have effective communication? How are you marketing your business and your business credentials through your branding? To build that trust, to establish that trust, to gain the legitimacy, to gain the trust of your potential clients. Is your visual branding powerful? Does it convey the core values that you represent as a business? Do you have testimonials? Do you have referrals? All of these things can be used to build and establish that trust, to have those clients or those potential clients reach out to you for leads. If somebody does not trust you, if your business, your marketing, your branding, your lead generation does not promote trust, does not promote quality, you will not get the leads that you're looking for. Effective online and offline lead generation strategies. Again, we don't live in the good old boys world anymore. You have to be visible on Google. You have to have SEO. The new generation begins their shopping experience online. That's where they go to find somebody, whether they're going to buy a car, whether they're going to go food shopping, whether they're going to see a movie. They're going to build a house. They're going to hire a contractor. They're going online first. If you're not online, you are dropping the ball. How can you tap into regional markets through ads, paid ads, not spending a ton of money? Are you networking? Are you establishing community involvement? Growing through social media, content marketing, referrals, platform selection. Which platform should you be on? What are the most important? Why you would be on each platform? How to gain engagement? How to come up with content ideas? What's your strategy for generating content? Are you collecting referrals? Or are you generating referrals? Are you collecting testimonials? What are you doing with those testimonials? How are you integrating them and implementing them into your marketing, your branding, your lead generation strategy? And then we have bonuses, right? We want to help you through these bonuses, which are templates, which are documents, which are calendars. How are you guaranteeing client fit? Do you have an action plan for lead generation? How can you create 30 days of consistent content to be able to use over and over again? How can you create content based on one project and create individual, unique pieces of content from that so that it does not, it's repeatable, right? You can use it over and over again, but it does not become stale. It's not redundant. We also, again, that beginner's guide SEO, which I think is 19 pages. You can take it as much as you want. You can get as involved as you want, or you can just tap into it at the very beginning stage. The goal for us is to make it less daunting, to make it more approachable, for you to be able to wrap your mind and your head around it and begin to start integrating it into your business, because you have to. So real quickly, the pricing. Your best price would have been if you attended the webinar. It was 50% off what will be the cost of this course come January 1st. You missed out on that window at this point, but we still have a coupon code, which is MC2024. Again, that coupon code is MC2024 when you go to check out, that it's not 50% off. So basically, if you are on the webinar, the course is going to be $497, call it $500 come January 1st as the what is it? Ball drops. As the ball drops and you're kissing your loved ones, the price of this course is going up to right under $500. If you were on the webinar, you got it for $247. From now until January 1st, 2025, the ball drops, you can get it for $297. So it's still $200 off. So if you're interested in this, I would recommend getting it for that sale price. Once that sale price is gone, it's going to be $497. So why would you need a course like this? Why would you spend $297 on this? First off, that's a extremely valuable price to me. If I would pay that times 10, I've probably paid that times 1,000 over the course of my career, making mistakes, screwing stuff up, over investing in projects, conceding certain aspects of projects to clients that I would relegate to a marketing expense that were really just foolish of me. So $300 to have, 1/10 of the information that we provide in this course is a bargain. To get everything that you are, to get the community that you're getting, is an absolute steal. It is. Nick was busting my stones that, this should be way more. This should cost way more. And I was like, nah, this is something that I feel is really important for everyone and that they need, and it's going to impact our industry, not just us. And this is something that they need. This is something that cost me so much money. This is information that literally changed my life and changed the trajectory of my business, my life, my lifestyle, everything. And it's not worth it to me to keep it close to the hip or charge more money that makes it difficult for people. The idea is that, like, if we can get this integrate this into people's businesses, it's going to literally change our industry, especially moving forward. And it's so helpful. So Nick was busting my stones. This should be way more money. I was like, no, I don't want to. This is where I want to price this course. So why would you need this? Nick and I have spent 7 years, again, interviewing, experiencing, and picking the brains of some of the industry's sharpest minds. People, whether they are subcontractors, contractors, builders, renovators, marketing people for companies, CEOs, CFOs, industry pros, celebrities. We've spoken to so many different people. We have so much experience, so much insight, that this course, this information is bigger than just Nick and myself. The time to work on your marketing, your lead gen, is now. Don't wait until the market falls out or the bottom drops out or you've reached the bottom or things begin the downturn. Like, do it now. There is, at this point, like for anyone, there's no need initially to spend multiple thousands of dollars dipping your toes in the marketing aspect of things. Whether you are looking to just gain insight as to what a marketing company should do for you, what the potential is, what your marketing company that you're currently paying is doing, what they aren't doing, or if you're new to business and you've never marketed before, this course will be extremely valuable to you. It doesn't matter, again, if it's your first day in business, if you're thinking of starting a business, or you've been in business for 30 years. There's information and takeaways for everyone. I was talking to Nick. I was like, if you were 30 years in business and you hired a marketing team and you were just out of the loop, I would pay for this course just to understand it and to walk me through everything that's going on so that I have some sort of perspective as to what's being done, what needs to be done, if they're doing it and if we're on the right path. Again, if I were to first start out, this would be one of the first things that I purchased at $250 or $300. It's an absolute steal and a no-brainer to get you on the right track. It's going to help you start working for the right clients and increase profitability in your business. It's going to help you learn to market yourself both online and offline, create visibility in the places that you need to be visible, build a brand and a marketing program that feeds itself, that's self-sustained, right? How can I use the work that I'm currently doing, putting in place, generating to get me to where I need to be, so that I'm not relying on those projects for more of the same, but they're pushing me in the direction of where I want to be? Because that's a mistake that I made for a really long time, is I was marketing to the same people, and I thought that I had to, or I thought that I had to give away freebies on a project in order to document them and market them to get to the next level. But I've realized there's ways of doing that where it doesn't cost you money. It doesn't cost you time. You can create content in the now that gets you to where you want to be. You're going to be able to expand your network with other industry pros with the online community forum. So when you go to checkout, there is a code that gets you into the private Facebook group. We want you to quit feeling overwhelmed and intimidated by digital marketing. That's something that I have felt intimidated by, that I am, that's not my strong suit. That's not, as far as the digital world, I've always known what I need to do. And luckily, I got involved with Instagram early on, and it's been huge for my business, but I didn't take it past that. Like it was all very organic the way that I grew. So I got to where I needed to, but it took me 15 years. And it was a lot of trial and error. And a lot of that was done through Instagram and Instagram only. So it took a really long time. But now on my business end, on the podcast business end, digging into this the past couple of years and understanding how to grow it more efficiently, more effectively, has been really, really critical, really important, and really valuable for me, and especially for creating this course. So real quickly, I'm going to dig into some of the questions that we had. I'll start off with some common questions that people ask with these courses. How long is it going to take to complete the course? So the course is self-paced. You can go through it at your own speed. Most people could complete the bulk of this work in a few days, a week. It's all broken down into modules. So as you complete them, you check them off. It gives you a percentage complete. So if you can't finish it, if you get pulled away, you can hop right back in and pick up where you left off. You will own the course forever. So if you want to take it again, if you want to go back to it, once you purchase it, you own it for the lifetime of the course. So you don't have to worry about completing it in 3 days, 4 days, or once you're done, that everything's going to disappear. So it's yours. You own it. We do have actionable items that will roadmap a couple of months down the road. So if you are going through all of that, you could be using a lot of the information for this for months at a time, and then circling back and using it month after month, year after year. So the bulk of the course you can complete, in a couple days, in a week. But then you should be using it to really inventory and gauge the changes that you're making for the next couple of months. Do I need any prior experience with marketing to take this course? There's no marketing experience necessary. Whether this is completely new to you, you're looking to refine what you're doing now, this course is going to provide you with practical, easy to apply techniques for all levels. Again, whether you are thinking about starting a business or you've been in business 40 years, there's information in there for you. Can I ask questions or get support or help if need be? Yes. hello@moderncraftsman.co. Also, the Facebook group. Hop on there. Any questions that you ask, it's everyone who's involved with the course. You can ask them anonymously if you want. So yeah, you'll have support and help throughout the lifetime of this course. So a couple of the questions that listeners asked, and it was, at what point are you no longer a builder and needing to shift your time, energy to becoming a content creator, savvy marketer? It depends on where you want to go with your business, right? You can take the old mindset where it's like, hey, I'm just going to take what comes across my plate. I'm going to continue to do good work, but your profitability, your margins, your amount of leads, and when the economy changes, you are not going to have a robust enough system that you are not protected from that. So you don't need to be a content creator. You don't need to be an influencer. We've put together information and templates and roadmaps within this course that make it very easy and very efficient for you to be successful with this and still be able to run your business. Would you say Google and SEO the most effective marketing tool as opposed to Facebook and Instagram? If you were to pick one, which would it be? If I were to pick one, I'd probably say spend the time and the money on Google and SEO because I think you'll probably capture the greatest market. But at the end of the day, it comes down to who your ideal client is, using the questionnaire, the templates that we provided to identify who your ideal client is, because everyone has a different buying process. Every demographic has a different buying process. Depending on who your client is going to dictate where they're going to begin their purchasing journey. And that will tell you which platform is going to be most beneficial to you. Would you take on a project that's not very exciting in terms of design, but was a quality client to work with? I've always struggled with promoting those projects and have started thinking we should start to own those projects as well. Some of our best clients have had pretty mundane taste. Absolutely. And again, in this course, we are going to teach you how to create content and generate really quality, valuable content from those type of jobs that still can market towards the client and the ideal client, the ideal job for you that makes you the best margins. But yeah, those jobs are money makers. They're great clients. There's a lot to be said for people who are just a joy to work for. So you'll be able to still remain loyal to those projects and those clients while still generating the content and the marketing efforts and lead generation, working towards possibly projects that create a little bit of better margins for you. What's your annual marketing budget? Nick always says around 3%, right? So if you were $1 million in sale, try and dump $30,000 into marketing. So with what we're charging right now, basically $300, I would say that's definitely not breaking the bank. If you did, and my math could be wrong here, I'm trying to do it off the top of my head, but if you spent $300 on this course, right, and that was 3% of your revenue for the year, your revenue would only have to be $10,000, right? So if you had $10,000 in revenue for the year and you spent 3% of that, that would be $300. I think that you're in a pretty good position. I think that most of you probably are generating more than $10,000 in revenue. So this should be a drop in the bucket. How do you structure your company in order to stay on top of this aspect of business, high-level marketing? How do you determine what type of budget's right for you? Where do I put my eggs? In what basket? Again, it comes down to priorities, where you want to be, what you need to make. The goal for this course is to make this super easy for you, to not have to spend a ton of time, to not have to spend a ton of money, and to create high impact, high value, high leverage content for you. So I would just say start here. Like if you want to determine where you need to be or where you spend your money, start here. You'll be able to gauge and assess what works. And then at that point, if you need to dump more money, or if you want help with creating a better marketing plan in place, or more specific marketing plan tailored to your company, you'll have the groundwork to do that. But start here before you decide what your overall budget needs to be and where you need to go and where you need to dump your money, because this is going to be a really good indicator of that. recommendations for implementing this into a company that has a few individuals from the good old boys mindset and see little to no value in this sort of thing. So that question is with regard to big picture, not buying this course, right? So they're not saying, hey, what's the value in this? We're going to spend $300. I think it's more so of the entire marketing and branding. There's a lot of companies that just don't believe in that, and it's all word of mouth. And there's people who've done that, and they will continue to do that, and it does create really successful businesses. But with the way that things are changing, and the changing of guard, and a lot of architect relationships, where it's what have you done for me lately? Things are changing, and they're going to continue to change. And the buying process for people is different than it's ever been. People are using less yard signs to find somebody. They're not going to their local architect and asking for builders. They're starting their purchasing online, and then they're moving ahead from there. So even if you are having trouble convincing the good old boys that this is worth it, purchase the course and then bring that information to the table. It is all tried. It's all true. It's proven. And if you invest $300 in yourself, even if you don't own the company or an employee, and you bring all of that information to this company and show them the value of that, and absolutely change their margins and the way that they do business, you are in line for a massive pay bump, a promotion. And to me, that's like a no-brainer of bringing your worth, proving your worth to a company through a very small investment on your behalf. So the best thing to do is to actually get out there and do it, and just prove, gain the knowledge, gain the insight, gain the perspective, bring it to the table, and prove it to them. What is an example of content that is cross-platform marketable? You mentioned one static post on platform not being enough. Yeah, so again, you should be able to have a job that can, or pull one project that can create content that can live on multiple different platforms, whether it's your website, Pinterest, YouTube, Google, Instagram, Facebook. So part of that is just the content itself, the sizes, the information behind it, right? But also it's having the mentality and the mindset to be able to use one project to generate 10 pieces of content, right? So you don't need 10 pieces of content to generate that. And once you do that, it's much easier and much simpler to start creating content. So that's going to wrap it up for me today. That is a lot of what our webinar was. Again, the $250 price is gone and out the window. We're at $300, but if you want that, do that before the ball drops, because once the ball drops, it's going to $500, which it's still a steal at $500, to be completely honest. Again, when you look at the big picture of what your marketing budget should be and how much you should spend in a year, there's jobs that I spent $500 a day on screw ups or over investing in, that the $500 is absolutely nothing. It doesn't even pale in comparison to what I've spent over the year foolishly on trying to understand marketing and screwing things up. So that is going to wrap it up for me. I hope that all of you found this valuable. If you want to find the course, go to our Instagram. I'll also post it in the show notes. So I'll have Doug post it in the show notes for this podcast, a direct link to the course. Again, remember, the coupon code for the $200 off, essentially at this point, is MC2024. That is good from now until the ball drops on January 1st, 2025. Again, that coupon code is MC2024. I'll have Doug post that in the show notes as well. But if you're on our Instagram, you can go to the courses tab. There is in the highlight portion of it, so there's little dots under our profile. you can click on there. It should be in our link tree, and it will soon be up on the website. Or if you're like, hey, this is all above my pay grade, shoot me an email, tyler@trghomeconcepts.com or hello@moderncraftsman.co. I'll get you the course link and the coupon code. So super pumped about this. Really excited for you. This is something that we've been wanting to do for a long time, and put a lot of time into getting together. Really, really great course. Super excited. I hope that you all enjoy it. If you have any questions, reach out to me, Tyler@trghomeconcepts.com or hello@moderncraftsman.co.